morning. Thank you for tuning in to Breakfast with Bacon. I am so excited because I'm presenting to you a Bookends radio show. This is the end of Catholic Schools Week, and last week we were so blessed to have some itty-bitties. They weren't technically itty-bitty. We had 8th graders and high schoolers to talk about just how much they love Catholic schools, their education, and more importantly, Jesus, which isn't that why we're all here? Isn't that why we send our kids to Catholic schools? So today, as a Bookends, I have the principals of some of those schools with me in the studio. The first one I have is Kim Callahan. Oh, Kim Callahan, right?
Yes.
And she is the principal of Christ the King Catholic School.
Yes, I am in Norfolk.
Elementary school from kindergarten to
Pre-K 3 to 8.
Pre-K. Wow, that's so good because back in the day we didn't even have kindergarten. When I went, at least, right?
We had one.
You had one kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I also have Peggy Boone. She is the principal of Catholic High School in Virginia Beach.
Good morning.
And I'm partial to that one. Before we went on the air, my kids graduated from there, so pretty excited about having you here. And also in the studio we have Scott Bolton. He is the principal of Portsmouth Catholic Regional.
That's right.
Grade school.
That's right. Well, yeah, thank you. Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Let's pull our microphones in because I want to make sure all of our listeners hear us. Okay. Great. So I'd like to start with thanking you guys first of all, and I made a joke before we went on the air that all the kids were so sweet and I got the mean ones, right? So, did any of you three go to Catholic high school?
Yes.
No, I did not.
You did not.
I was,
or grade school?
No, all the way up through high school. I was always public schools. Not until the last 15 years I got into Catholic education.
Last 15 years of your education, you mean?
Yes, yeah, 15 years, yes. Last 15 years here.
Of your life?
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't even go to like Catholic college or anything.
No.
What made you, since they can tell you're the only male in this group, they know you're Scott, what brought you into principaling at a Catholic? Are you Catholic?
Yes, I am.
Were
Yes.
you raised?
No, I was not raised Catholic. Boy,
well, let me take you there right away. I was going to go here later in the show. What brought you? How'd you get us here?
I married to a Catholic, beautiful wife now for 29 years, and have a 26-year-old who at that time in 2nd grade was going through his first communion, and I was there with my wife and son, and I'm like, I'm missing something here, So at that time, I decided to go through the RCIA program up in New Hampshire. Recognize my accent already.
Hold it up right away.
Yeah, up in New Hampshire, and the rest is history. And I've been Catholic ever since, and it's been a great journey.
But that doesn't mean you're going to get into being a principal at a
Right.
Catholic school. So you obviously,
right.
Where's this trajectory?
Right.
What were you doing before that? Were you always wanting to get into education?
Well, I began as a primary school teacher, grades kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Loved the
public school.
Yeah, public school.
Right.
Public school. And I really enjoyed the students, and at that time, I was still growing in my faith, and at that time, I then got into administration, and up in New Hampshire, I was a middle school assistant principal, where it was pretty tough. Grades, 6th, 7th, and 8th, and
is that because of middle school? Because
middle school, yes. It
was
was a tough area where I was, and I've had some, sleepless nights, and at that time, I think the rest is divine intervention. I'll call it divine intervention. My wife woke up and said, "You know what? We need to move to Williamsburg, Virginia."
Like, did you have any connections?
No connections down here. My sister lived down here way back when her husband was in the Navy, and that was early '90s, and the rest, went ahead.
What were you like?
Well, went ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, at that time, it was up at Walsingham Academy, and
which is another Catholic school.
Right. And at that time, my wife, looked in the paper, and we were looking in the paper and says, "Okay, Williamsburg, Virginia." I don't know. So, I applied and came down, got the position, went back home, and it was weird, down in the early '90s when the whole market of real estate was going down. We sold all our properties in no time. It was like we were driving home after I got the job, driving home, and at that time we were getting phone calls saying that we got an offer on the house, And with that, it was just divine intervention. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, well, we were going to talk about faith later in the show, but boy, I tell you, when God's got a plan, He just opens the doors. If you go that direction, you should find no obstacles.
Right.
If you go in that plan, and then you get the job, and you're a
Right.
principal
So
of
yeah, so
Catholic
for the last
school.
15 years, I've been in administration in the Catholic school setting. So, but it's been great. It's been a great journey.
It is, and that's kindergarten through 8th
Yeah,
grade.
we are pre-K.
Pre-K
yeah,
through
Portsmouth is pre-K 3 through 8th grade.
How many kids are at your school
We are at around 150.
total?
Total from pre-K
Okay.
3 all the way up to
Is
8th
that
grade.
average? Is that
Yeah,
usual?
yeah. Well, this we'd love to have more. You know,
Of
so
course.
anybody out there, come on over. We're just right off 264, maybe about a mile off the Portsmouth Boulevard exit, and come on in, check us out. But yeah, we always want more students.
You know what? Actually, maybe after the commercial break or at some point, let's maybe each get a plug for your separate schools, because we're talking about Catholic education. But I have no problem with you saying, what's awesome about your school, and for the people that are in that area, do you have busing, stuff like that. So don't let me forget. Okay? So what about you ladies? Who wants to go first? How did you end up becoming a principal of a Catholic school? You kind of heard the line of question. Were you born Catholic? Did you always want to be an administrator? Who wants to go first?
I'm a cradle Catholic.
This is Kim.
I'm Kim Callahan, Christ the King. I'm a cradle Catholic. I went to Christ the King School.
Which is crazy.
I'm a 1973 graduate. I went to Norfolk Catholic High School. I graduated from there, as did pretty much everybody in my family. I taught at Christ the King for 10 years, and I decided to go in. I joined Norfolk Public Schools for 23 years,
Wow.
and I left Norfolk for this position because I wanted to come back home.
Yeah. Because everybody should have an idea that Catholic, Christian education, you're not doing that for a big paycheck. You kind of smile.
No.
You do that for other reasons, which is kind of in your heart, I guess, right?
It is. Catholic education is just incredible. The students are engaged. They love each other. The teachers love them. It's just the perfect learning environment.
Yeah,
And teaching environment.
it is. Well, and before I get Peggy, because it's come up twice, how do you okay, for me, I love that my kids could pray over their meals. I love that my kids could, wear crosses, mention God, and not be ostracized or laughed at or like, oh, you're one of those. So how much is the faith aspect a part of make you happy, that the kids, you can teach them how to be respectful and kind as part of your curricula, right? I mean, it's like, this is Catholic faith.
It is.
So how does that fit in for you? You know where I'm going with that?
I think is
that academic? Is that just the atmosphere? Where does the trueness of Catholicity come into that?
I think that the faith foundation makes my job as an administrator easier. Students have a moral compass. They have a direction. Parents have this follow in the same step as do the teachers. It's just a holy place.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. What a great place to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Peggy, you know where I'm going, right? How did you get into this? Peggy, as we said, is the principal of Catholic High School here in Virginia Beach.
So just to piggyback on that idea of the Catholic identity and what that does for our students and for our families, I think it's the essence of our entire school. And that really provides such a support network for teenagers as they are moving through the years of adolescence. And in this day and age when the world is so complex and they are faced with a lot of things at a younger and younger age, for those students to have a really strong understanding of their faith and to be able to listen to God's calling and to discern His path for them and to feel comfortable doing that, I think it provides a safe environment for them to continue to be kids, to grow in a natural way, and to have that kind of support from like-minded faculty and staff. Mm-hmm. So they are really role models for the students in so many ways, and that makes a difference. We almost partner with them as mentors as they go through adolescence. to help them face some challenges, because in this day and age, every teenager is going to go through some sort of challenge at some point. And so to be able to rely on your faith and on positive role models who share that same faith and mindset, it really makes a difference in helping them to become strong adults and people who can face challenges as they move outside of high school too. So I've heard from so many alum and parents of alum over and over about what a difference the faith formation has made in their children, beginning in high school and then continuing throughout the rest of their lives. So it's very pivotal.
I like that word. It is pivotal, because before we went on the air, we were talking about it is no guarantee that your children will stay with the faith or stay with God, that they do, like the prodigal son, sojourn. Not all, some, I think maybe most, too small, and right? We question stuff, but you're giving them the best they can get in terms of, okay, when you get out there into the real world, what you've gotten here is what you can take with you. And you always kind of default back to, well, what would Sister Rita say? What would Miss Boone say? What would Jesus say? And to me, I think you're giving my kids invaluable gifts. So I, as a parent of Catholic school students, thank you all so much for that, because it's a sacrifice, but a sacrifice of love. How did you get into it then, Peggy?
So I also came from a Catholic family. I grew up mostly in the Chicago area, and that was just a big part of my childhood. All sorts of religious celebrations, and it was just a strong, faithful family. I worked in public school as well for a number of years, and then I moved into the independent school world, working at St. Christopher's in Richmond, which is an Episcopal school. And after being there for 5 years, I saw an opening at St. Gertrude Catholic High School, which is an all-girls school in Richmond. So I moved over there. I was director of media and technology, and so that was an important time to be in that role, because the world was changing so much. There were a lot of shifts in education based on technology. So I really enjoyed working with that faculty and staff, and then I grew into an administrative position there. And stayed for 9 years at St. Gertrude until the opening at Catholic High School, that I was encouraged by Pat Patterson, who's a principal at Roanoke Catholic High School, to apply for, and I did. And I just find that working in a Catholic school is aligned with my values, and working in that kind of environment with people that are very comfortable talking about faith and recognize the role that faith plays in their lives and what a difference that can make, really is a fulfilling aspect of my work in Catholic schools. And then also just having the opportunity to work with young people and to evangelize with them, to support them through faith. It's just a rewarding part of the job.
How do you do that? Because I mean, all three of you have to do that. How do you get to evangelize when you're sitting in your office and you're not even in the classroom?
We don't sit in our offices.
That was a loaded question, I know. So how do you do that?
We do sometimes.
If I went to your school and I was in your halls, what would I see?
An open door. An open door and nobody in the office. Really just being able to walk around, see the students, see the faculty, see the engagement with all of them involved. It's just fun to see.
Yeah, the classroom is my happy place. So I love going into the kindergarten, first grade, preschool, seeing special things that they've done, and it just it's the face of God.
Yeah.
We have a very strong campus ministry program, and all of our students go on retreats each year with their class.
The Kairos retreat
for juniors,
right?
correct.
But
there's a retreat
as well, or for every age level.
Not all Kairos, but there is a retreat for every age level. And our students participate in weekly mass. We have 4 years of theology, so they have a true understanding of the faith. And from that, there are so many opportunities to dialogue, about faith. And, we have 80% of our students right now, and that changes from year to year, as Catholic.
That was my next question.
However, we really come from a place of Christian values, and I think there's a lot of merit in a values-based education and what that can offer to young people in this day and age.
So you have 20% of your students are non-Catholic. What about you, Kim?
We're at about 72% Catholic,
Okay,
20.
Scott?
I would say it's probably about 50-50. I've only been there a month, so I'm just still trying to get to know the students.
Okay.
I think, so.
So, we don't, and correct me whenever I err, but we don't apologize for our Catholic faith. But do you or do you not proselytize? If I'm a non-Catholic and I'm looking for a good education, am I going to expect my child to, be ostracized because he or she is not Catholic? Or are you going to try to make them Catholic? Speak to that. I kind of know the answers, but I wanted to.
Well, when we attend Mass weekly, we have prayer partners. So our 8th graders partner up with our pre-K 3 and our 7th graders pre-K 4, and they attend Mass together. Those that aren't Catholic, they still participate in the Mass. They cross themselves when they go to communion to be blessed.
Rather than receive the Eucharist, for those who are listening,
Mhm.
right?
And it's no, I have not seen or witnessed anybody feeling uncomfortable with that. It's a very open and welcoming group.
And when they question classes, what I heard last week with the students is that, because one of the students that represented, and I can't remember if he came from Peninsula Catholic, that's what I thought.
So
He was non-Catholic, but he felt an open environment to ask questions. Well, here's what I've been taught, what say ye? And so it really, to me, would bring about some engaging conversation in the classrooms. Have you heard any of that, and you're new at this one, Scott, so.
Yeah, the other day, one of our students received, because I think was last Wednesday, was the Mass for Life. And they received a little pamphlet, and he was still unsure of what what pro-life and pro-choice was all about, and he started reading it, and it came with a little pin, a little tiny feet. It was so cute, and he started reading. He says, "Wow, this is great. Just by reading this, I'm going to be pro-life." So that was really a wonderful thing to hear. When the teachers brought that forward.
Which you could never do that in a public school,
Right.
But here at least,
That's right.
and you didn't even tell him.
That's
He
right.
made that
That's
decision
right.
on his own.
That's right.
But you were free to share with him.
That's right.
the-
Exactly. And speaking back on what they were saying, it's we're all children of God. Whether you're Catholic or not, you're always welcome. And Jesus was always welcoming as well. So we're all children of God, and whether you're Catholic or Episcopalian or Protestant, it's still the love of one another, and we're all called to be disciples of Jesus Christ. And if we can go ahead and share that with our students, share that with our families, and share that out to the community, then I think we've done our job.
Excellent. What about community? How do you get out there? You get your students out there?
we have a lot of opportunities for students to participate in service projects, and so
That's Peggy speaking from the high school level, right?
Yes, so that makes a big difference in our community. Just this week for Catholic Schools Week, we had a Super Bowl food drive, and the kids brought in cans of soup for the local food pantry. And that makes a really big difference because we're affecting families at the local level. Our students participate in service in an elementary school and tutor younger students. They have lots of opportunities to work with Our Lady of Perpetual Help next door.
Which is a nursing home?
It is.
Okay.
And they created Valentine's during Catholic Schools Week for all of the residents of that organization, so that's very meaningful. They participate in the Romero Center up in New Jersey, so they have an opportunity to go to one of the poorest areas in New Jersey and to kind of see what that's like and to feel.
What's the Romero Center?
It's a religious organization up in New Jersey that gives people the opportunity to go through the process of what it is like to actually be poor in America. So they have some exercises where the students are given so much money and they have to go to the store and be able to feed their family for that amount of money. So it just gives them a real experience and understanding of what others in the world are going through, and how it's incumbent upon us as Catholics to help those as part of those people in the world. As part of our Catholic social teachings, we're always looking for ways to help others that are less fortunate. So it just brings it home for a lot of kids that otherwise may not know what that feels like and looks like. So it's more of a hands-on experience for them.
Wow. I'm guessing community is part of, so what do you have your kids do? Well, you were already saying that they partner up, but that's kind of within the school.
That's within the school.
Outside of the school?
Outside of the school, our middle school has service hours, and they work on various projects either around the school or around the area or the church, in terms of like a butterfly garden and environmental improvements. We're a military school.
What's that mean?
We have a high military concentration in our school, and we understand the difficulties that can come with deployment and loss of a mom or dad for a few months.
Are you what are those called? The Purple Ribbon School?
Purple Star. We're
Star.
working towards that right now. So
some of the Catholic schools in this area are Purple Star schools. Are any of you three the Purple Star school?
No.
Okay.
St. Pius just became a Purple Star school.
Right, and I know St. Matthew's is.
And St. Mary's
St. Matthew's isn't.
Right.
We're working towards it at St. Matthew's.
Okay, St. Matthew's is working towards it as well. Okay, so keep going because I know that's
So
really
we've done
powerful.
Valentine's for soldiers overseas. We just did a program with that. We have older students that act as kind of like a baby ombudsman for the younger students when their parents leave. So it's
That
it's a
really
nice-
is a military-friendly type of education that you're giving them.
Mhm.
Well, we wanted to mention, because I'm talking all on faith right away, we don't want to forget academic excellence. I mean, let's just put that right out there. It was like 20 some years ago, I saw John Stossel do a show about Catholic education versus public education. And he was saying how the public schools are always asking for more money, more money, more money. And he said back then, and the numbers were like $7,000 was the cost per capita for a kid in a Catholic school, and something like 21. It was 3 times as much in the public school back when I saw this show, and I know that's kind of remained proportionate. So the amount of dollars to educate a child in a Catholic school per capita is less than the public schools, and yet we are putting out significantly more students into Catholic high schools, Catholic colleges. I know Catholic high school, I think when I was there, was averaging 4 to 5 students per year going to the military academies, right? I mean, you still get at least one a year, don't you, Peggy?
Well, this past year, we had a number of appointments to the Naval Academy alone. So we are very fortunate in that so many of our students go on to work in or apply to and attend service academies and then continue working in the military. But we send kids to all sorts of colleges. Academic excellence is really a cornerstone of the school. Small classes, individual attention, that teacher-student relationship that makes all the difference in a student's learning ability, and teachers that will meet kids wherever they are, because we are a diverse school. We have kids from all walks of life, and all are welcome, as we mentioned earlier, and being able to support a student, whether they are naturally gifted academically or not, and encouraging them to grow as far as they can go is really an important aspect of what we do as an educational institution.
Which is great, because you don't want that impression that you have to be this academically gifted, white, wealthy student.
Not at all.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's good to hear too, because I know that the Catholic schools are also, especially in the grade school level now, working. I think I was talking to Liz Allen last week about IEPs and things, and working with students who are not necessarily, well, like the public school has that IEP program,
It's,
What do you have?
Students with disabilities.
Yes, so what do you do in the Catholic schools? If my child has a disability, are they still able to attend a Catholic primary school?
Yes, they are. At our school, we have a certified special education teacher. We also have 2 Wilson reading tutors that work, as well as Title I for students who need extra help.
Mm-hmm.
We encourage parents to have their child tested through the public school system because it's inexpensive, and that is the way they can come out with qualifications in a disability category.
The school can,
Yes.
if the parents are willing to.
If they're willing to have them tested.
Right.
We have we have a social skills class for students that are on the spectrum, so that they can
Wow.
understand how to act, because students on the spectrum most times do not pick up social cues.
Right, they're socially awkward.
But they can,
If they're
through
taught.
direct instruction, learn how to behave in situations through role play and books and comic books and things like that. So we have
How new is that, Kim? Is that new, or has that been there for a while?
our special education program has been there for a while. That's my background through Norfolk Public Schools. So we started that this year. Actually, this semester the social skills class started.
Wow. Well, how do you got any feedback? I know it's only been a short time.
It's only been a short time, but it's already been beneficial in dealing in issues within the school. So things that people might perceive as a discipline issue, it's really not a discipline issue, it's a perspective issue. So we can take that student, work with them,
Yeah.
and help them to realize through direct instruction the proper way to move forward.
No, that's an education. but academic excellence is still there
Oh,
as
it's
well.
still there.
We don't
yes.
dumb it down.
Right.
No.
Right. And I think when you take a look at an IEP or a 504 plan, it's really just good teaching practice. You know, I think that when you can see, you know, when a student comes in with an IEP and we need to sit down and talk with them, because we don't have the special education at our school, but again, we'll take a look at each individual IEP to say, hey, can we go ahead and meet these child's needs? You know, because this, the last thing we want to do is, you know, be a disservice to some of the students if they, you know, cannot, you know, if they won't be able to be successful. We want to make sure that they're in the right place. You know, so when you look at an IEP, is we just want to make sure that, you know, that we can go ahead and, you know, follow where we can. You know, if we have the resources to go ahead and do that, then yes, we will.
And the greater thing I think about the Catholic schools is that you don't have all this red tape from the government that you know, have to follow. I mean, you have your own, I'm sure, from the church, but you have, what I just heard you say was something about, we see a need, we have the freedom to go fill it.
Mhm.
You know, we can do what we want to that degree. So there's so many good things I want to talk about. My guests today are Kim Callahan, Peggy Boone, and Scott Bolton. They're all Catholic. What do they have in common, right? They're all principals of Catholic schools in this area here, but I hope we're representing well the Catholic schools around the nation. But we're going to take a commercial break, and when we get back, we're going to talk about what we've been leading into here, like the whole child. We're talking about academics, we're talking about spiritual, physical, with the gym class, all this good stuff. But we do need to get our sponsors on the air, so please stay tuned. My name is Dr. Christine Bacon. You've been listening to Breakfast with Bacon. That is good. You just slid right in there.
Slid right back out in a minute. I'm leaving.
She's married to Larry out there, so
Okay.
they own the station here.
Our friends are here
I
from Roanoke,
heard.
so they're in here, and I said, I'll go do her, and then I'm leaving. We're going shopping.
Go do it, girl.
I am.
Go on. Spend that money.
I am.
So okay, what do you guys like? What do you want to, have we talked enough about any of those topics? I have service, affordability, faith. We'll get to the whole
I think
child.
we could talk more about academics, at least on the high
Mhm.
school
Yeah,
level,
well,
yeah.
How about financial aid, EISTC,
Mhm.
Yes.
transportation, after
Oh,
school,
transportation, yes.
before and after school programs.
Yes.
Off the top of my head, I'm also thinking of Segura.
Mhm.
What's Segura? Is that a thing or is that a person?
That is a.
And now it's
That's an
Hispanic
initiative. It's a
representative.
Hispanic.
Okay.
Yeah, we've moved away from Segura to
Because
Hispanic.
that means security or something.
Right,
Spanish.
yeah. So we all have a Hispanic representative at the school that works with admissions, and they reach out to Hispanic families in the area to connect with them and let them know about the Catholic school options.
Right.
So we've had several for our preschool program come. So our aide that's gonna be in our 2-year-old program that's gonna start after July is bilingual. And then our Spanish teacher is part-time, but we're gonna make her full-time next year because she's gonna move into the pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 in kindergarten to help with translation for our Hispanic students as well. Kind of like a ESL.
Wow. Well, Catholic schools have sure come a far way.
Everybody wears a lot of different hats.
Oh, yeah.
So no one does one job.
How are you for teachers? Did you want to make a plug for people who want to apply? Or are you guys all pretty good with getting? And I wanted to ask that too. I need to ask that on the air. What % of your teachers are lay teachers? There's probably like 90% these days. And
I don't know.
or 100.
100%.
Yeah, I'm not
100.
sure.
And then what % of them are Catholic? Because is that a problem? Do you have to be Catholic? If you're not, how do we get them to teach Catholic?
They don't.
Right. Okay.
No, they don't have to be Catholic.
But they don't teach religion.
So
Right.
the
They're
religion
usually
teacher
religion
has to be
teachers.
Catholic.
They are
Specific to
Catholic,
teaching that.
absolutely.
They're
Right.
religion teachers
Okay.
that are
Right.
specific to that. The other thing too is arts programs, music,
Yes.
band, choir.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we
Um,
should talk about that.
Definitely, because one of the big things is, at least from what I've heard, is that a lot of parents think that, oh, if my kid goes to a Catholic school, they're not
They don't
gonna
get
have
all
the same
these things.
opportunities as far as all those
Well, then
extracurricular
sports.
things.
What
Yes.
about
Oh, we've
sports?
got
Sports
every
too.
sport.
Yeah.
We've got golf,
Mhm.
field hockey, basketball,
Track,
volleyball,
Cross
track,
country,
cross
soccer,
country.
swimming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would expect the high school to have it, but I'm shocked that the grade schools have it.
I was surprised too,
Wow.
with the amount of,
So you have 100? No, you had 100.
150, yeah,
150. What do
150.
you have?
210, right around 210,
210.
give or take.
And what's full for you?
Well,
mean,
when
you could always
when
grow.
I was there, full was 1,100.
Whoa, that was full.
Holy mackerel.
And that was 45 in every class.
Mhm.
But I would like, a capacity for us, I think, would be 300.
15 seconds, Christine.
Wait, how many do you have? Like 4?
415.
415? Yeah, I just love Catholic education. There's a feeling when I went into St. Matthew's, after a while, I was teaching them teacher CEUs. It just felt good being back in there.
Mhm.
You see the Christian stuff on the walls, you just felt peaceful, Good morning, thanks for staying tuned. My guests today are the bookends, topping off the Catholic Schools Week, ending off Catholic Schools Week, which ends tomorrow. And so we had the students come in at last week's show, and we got the principals this week's show, and I don't think you've made any kids cry, right?
Not today.
Not today. Haven't made me cry yet, so that's good. But if you're interested in the show, you want your friends or family or someone else is considering Catholic education, or they haven't and you think it's a great idea for them, this show will be uploaded to my website, breakfastwithbacon.com, and you can go right ahead and forward the show to others. Again, that's breakfastwithbacon.com, and whoever you think needs it, let's get this in their hands. Also, before I forget, if you're interested in Catholic schools, go to hrcatholicschools.org, right? And you can get information on all of these Catholic schools and then some about, prices, open houses, student enrollment, sports, and some of the things that we're going to talk about today. So hrcatholicschools.org. But if you forget that, just come back to Breakfast with Bacon. There'll be a picture of the 4 of us after we go off the air. You click on that image and it will link you right to HR Catholic Schools. My other shameless plugs, go buy my book. Valentine's Day is actually coming, so I wrote a book called The Super Couple, a formula for extreme happiness in marriage, not just happy, extremely happy, because our God is a God of extreme love. And so I had the privilege of interviewing extremely happily married couples to find out if extreme happiness was an accident or was it was there a formula? Of course, I expected to find it was accidental, but I did find it was a formula. And 100% of these husbands answered the questions the same way. 100% of the women. My own marriage went from unhappy to happy to very happy. And now God has given me the mission to save 1 million marriages. And the feedback on the book is great. It's called The Super Couple, A Formula for Extreme Happiness in Marriage. You can get it on my website. You can go to Amazon, anywhere books are sold. And it's also out in audiobook now. So if you don't have the time to read and you want to listen to how to become an extremely happy spouse, how to, if you're divorced, single, whatever, I just think it's important because we're talking about Catholic education, and that's what it's about, is teaching what is love. And so any other shameless plug? Oh, yeah, I got it, social media. What else, Eli? Do I forget stuff? You go, okay, my assistant's here because I always forget to do all my shameless plugs. So let's just get those out there and save some marriages. And it starts by getting your kids the right educations. And all of us in this room are pro-Catholic education. So again, in my studio, I have Kim Callahan. She's the principal of Christ the King Catholic School. Peggy Boone is the principal of Catholic High School. And Scott Bolton is the principal of Portsmouth Catholic. Some of the things I want to make sure we talk about, and I'm going to throw them out there, and one of you pick up any one of them. We still want to talk about the academics. We want to talk about financial affordability, but some of the things people don't think about is that we do offer before and after school care. And so I want you guys to talk about that before we go on to the really cool things about the arts programs and the Hispanic initiative. I mean, take any one of you. It's like, ooh, pick me. Which one of those you want to hit first?
I'll go with the academics because we have so many upper level courses for students.
You're at the high school.
We are at the high school, and they can take a variety of AP courses. So by the time that they graduate, many of our students have a number of college credits already. It also helps with their college transcript overall. And so they are very equipped to handle college. And we hear that over and over again from our graduates, how well Catholic high school prepared them for college. Yes. And when they get there, they see other kids that are struggling, but they can write, they can communicate well, their critical thinking is highly developed.
Study habits.
Their study habits, academic habits. So they really stand to thrive in the college setting, and they don't have sort of that long transition period that some kids have to go through. That's a real plus for Catholic education in general.
I will tell you, I teach at Old Dominion University and I teach communication courses there, and I can always tell, and it's confirmed after the first paper, which kids have come from, at minimum, private schools, but definitely the Catholic schools. Their language, the way their papers are written, the way that they turn it in quickly, typos are not there. I mean, it is a head and shoulders difference above some of the other students. So I'm thinking, how did you write? You're in college. Shouldn't you? This shouldn't even be a rough draft. I'll get those kind of things sometimes. But, I've worked with those students, don't get me wrong. But absolutely,
they can definitely write.
Abilities.
Yes, and we also offer a lot of courses in computer science and computer science principles, technology. So we are equipping our students for the kind of world that they are going to be involved in. So although we're very strong in the basics, reading, writing, and arithmetic, we also encourage kids to take other classes so that they are well equipped to go in any direction that they want. STEAM is very big in our Catholic school programs, and we offer a variety of courses in science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, so that they can go in those directions when they get into college and into their job choices as well.
STEAM used to be STEM, but now we add the A for arts.
And often we add the R, and it's STREAM, R for religion. So there are variations of it, but it's just preparing students for the kinds of jobs that will be out there. Yes.
Yeah. Well, what about the arts? Or did you want to take?
I just want to in our middle school, we're very fortunate to have teachers certified at the high school level as well, and so our students could be able to leave our school with 6 high school credits. From middle school, we have Spanish.
That's middle school.
Middle school, we have Spanish 1 and 2.
Yeah.
We have Algebra 1. We have Geometry. We have Biology and Earth Science. And so we're hoping to bring in maybe a world history or world geography as well.
Wow.
So if they would have an English credit, they could be considered a freshman.
But if they had an English credit in middle school, they could be considered a high school freshman in middle school? Wow.
They would have actually finished their freshman year. You need,
Wow.
so,
Although I wouldn't like that because I loved my 4 years of high school. It's like, I don't want to graduate early. I love being
well,
in high
you
school.
wouldn't graduate early, you have plenty of,
Take other hard
plenty of
courses.
things to take.
Lots of courses, many options.
But you could graduate early if you wanted to, if that happened, right?
We don't graduate students early, so they do take 4 years. It just allows them to take additional coursework. If
More
if
options.
Right, more options.
Okay.
I like the arts. I mean, the arts is very important at the elementary school and middle school level. I mean, you feed that left brain, right brain thing, you know, it's
Absolutely.
very important. And, you know, I think that, you know, when you can walk through the hallways at 3:30 in the afternoon and school's out, you're walking through, it's like, school's still in session.
Yeah.
You know, because there's just so many different clubs that are going on. You've got your drama club, you've got your art club, you've got
This is a
your,
grade
yes,
school.
Yeah, it's grade school, and you got your running club, you know, chess club. You got so many different clubs that go on after school, and these teachers, this is all in their own time, you know, because this is their vocation. You know, it's not their job, it's their vocation, and it's just really neat to see all of the interaction between the student and the teacher. It's really nice to see. And again, like I said, that left brain, right brain, giving the students all these opportunities. You know that yes, you do get it in public school, but you also do get it in the private school. And as a Catholic school, you know, you have your small class settings, and again, you're a name, not a number. You know,
What are your
so-
average student to teacher ratio?
We have around anywhere between 12 to 16.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, right. You know, we have one class of 25. You know, so that's full. You know, but for the most part, we're anywhere around 16 to 18, 12, 16.
I had that when I went to Catholic school, and I still remember my classmates' names, and it always felt like a family. Always.
It is a family. And we offer so many extracurricular and co-curricular activities as well. The Blue Crab Bowl is for students that are interested in science, and we have a middle school science bowl. Just hosted that a couple weekends ago, so students from all over the area that attend area Catholic schools came and competed in areas of science, so that was a lot of fun for them. We have 85% of our students participate in athletics, so many of our students play more than one sport. That's an important aspect of the whole child that we were talking about earlier and referencing. We have a play or a musical in the spring and in the fall, a great theater program, forensics program, so students.
I did forensics. I even worked with you guys at Catholic High School when you had Alex Bergeron, and I would help score some of the peeps.
That makes sense as a radio host
Yes,
that you were good
I
at
loved
forensics.
it. It was so much fun, and the students were so good. It was so good to listen to them.
They are good.
Articulate.
They went to states last year and then moved on to nationals.
Oh my
so
gosh, it's
really
wonderful.
impressive. Model UN, so many opportunities.
Things
for
that
kids
people
to
thought
do.
were only available in public schools. I mean, you are right up there competing with. So even though we know academically, you get your money's worth.
Yes, we offer all the same things that the public schools offer normally, and we also offer a strong faith-based environment. So we can really help guide kids in making good moral decisions and having strong values.
And I like the word that Peggy used was co-curriculars. You know, so often,
What is
growing
that?
up, you hear specials, your specials teacher, your specials classes, your art, music, PE. They're now co-curriculars because they're just as important as your curricular classes, core classes. So co-curriculars is good.
Well, let's talk the money. Is this because so many people may have heard the show start and go, I can't even afford it, so I'm not going to bother listening. Talk to those people.
Money should never be a deterrent. You know, if this is a school that interests you and is a good fit for your child, every school will work with the parents to make it possible for them to attend. So financial aid is available to families. The EISTC program is a federally supported program that allows organizations, scholarship organizations, to fund students that come from a public school and are at 300% or lower of the poverty level. And that was just recently in the General Assembly. It was up for repeal but it has been pushed back to next year. So we're very fortunate that we can provide that EISTC funding for students, and it really makes a difference in the trajectory of their lives. For many of our students, they wouldn't be able to afford it without that, and it's a game changer.
Right.
And if you go to hrcatholicschools.org, they have information on that. And I do know, the little bit I can articulate, is that if you're listening right now and you wish you could help someone, you have money, you want to help someone else go to Catholic education, you can donate your money to a school, and it can specifically, you can specifically point it towards a child, I believe, or a school.
Yeah.
To a school. And you get back, I think 65%
65% tax
of
credit.
State tax.
on your state tax.
Yes.
Right.
So if you give 1,000, in essence, you're getting 650 back in your taxes. So it's really a no-brainer. But that's a way for, I've heard a lot of Catholic older people. I mean, I'm a grandparent, and I'm like, I would just love to help someone, because I know how hard it was for me. When my kids went to Catholic school, I received financial aid every single year from kindergarten up.
I did as well.
I needed it.
And it's a community effort. So the state of Virginia has set aside $25 million for private education through this EISTC fund. And it is an incredible way. It's a win-win for everybody. Our school has benefited, many of our students benefit from EISTC. And that is not just for Catholic students. It's for any denomination.
Right. Which is important to say.
It is. So financial aid is available for all, not just Catholic students.
And when you donate through the EISDC, that money has to and only can go for
Scholarship.
scholarships.
So you don't have to worry about someone accidentally taking part of it and paying for traffic, or this goes to school, to this specific Catholic school if you want. And some mom or dad is on their knees thanking God because they can afford to send their child because of money you're donating.
Absolutely, it makes a big difference.
What % of your students actually receive any portion of financial aid-ish, if you're able? 50%? Less than that? More than that? And they're all kind of looking, because I didn't tell them I would ask this up front. Do you think there's, the point I'm making by that question is, I think a lot more people are receiving it than, they don't want to admit it, pride reasons and stuff. So you aren't going to be this minority of 1 or 2 of you are the only,
I would say
desperate
close.
poverty
I would say
stricken
close to 55% at
It's
my
over.
school.
It's definitely over 50%.
Yeah, so that's fair to say, so, again, I had to receive it as a mother for my children, and no shame in that, but I wanna give back any way I can. We don't have but 10 minutes. I wanna talk about all the good stuff about Catholic education. I wanna talk about this Hispanic initiative. I've never heard of that before.
This is an initiative that was set in by Bishop De Lorenzo years ago to promote, to have representatives within school that make Catholic education affordable for people of Hispanic background. Our Segura representative has gone to Spanish masses and different things around the area to bring families in. So Tuesday night in our open house, I believe we had 6 families come in. We had interpreters for them so that they could tour the school. And moving forward, looking in their classrooms, we plan on starting a 2-year-old program in July, and the aide in that classroom is bilingual. And we also intend to use our Spanish teacher, who is part-time. We plan on putting her full-time to serve in an ESL capacity, in English as a second language capacity, in our lower school.
Wow. None of this when I was a kid. I mean, just none of this. They didn't even have sports at my grade school. When I moved to 8th grade at a different Catholic school, we had basketball and cheerleading. But now, everything that you can think of, it seems, is available. Anything that seems available at public schools, there's likely available at the Catholic schools, or at least a comparison, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Well, what other awesome things do you think you want to tell us about your schools? Well, let me do this. let's get a plug out for each of your individual schools. What do you want people to know about Portsmouth Catholic, Scott?
Portsmouth, being only there just a month, because it just started January 2nd, the dedication of our staff. Like I said, you know, they're after school all the time, you know, until 3:30, 4 o'clock, just being there with students, and the time that they take with each and every student, the one-on-one attention that they give them, the small group instruction, giving them the opportunities to, again, like I said, you know, left brain, right brain, you know, get these kids out, you know, they see a gift in this child, they say, hey, why don't you go ahead and be part of the drama program? Why don't you go ahead and, you know, you don't want to be okay, why don't you start with being involved in the talent show that we're gonna have, you know, that kind of thing. They really know and understand each individual child and the gifts of each of them. And when they see those gifts, you know, every student is a talent, and they do a great job of really honing in on that talent and build upon that.
Okay. And that next one speaking is Kim, and you're over at Christ the
I'm
King.
over at Christ the King.
Well, you're Portsmouth,
Portsmouth Catholic.
and then you're in Norfolk.
I'm Norfolk, very convenient to downtown Norfolk and all naval bases.
Because you do sound like a TV commercial. Right? And then don't let me forget to ask about transportation when all you guys are done talking.
Okay. No, the faculty at Christ the King, I came, this is my first year, and when I got here in July, I am just so impressed with the professionalism and the creativity and the dedication of every teacher at my school. They are an absolute joy to work with. All of them are just incredible. I think that the school itself has been there since 1954. It's a parish school. We've graduated over 30,000 students. And I think one of the things we need to look at too is Catholic schools in this area in general have graduated a lot of leaders.
Yes.
That are in our community that we are unaware of sometimes. So I can't say enough about what Catholic education has done for me and my family. My grandson starts in the fall.
Does he start at your school?
Yes.
You get to see him. I'm a grandma.
Every day.
Yes, you'd probably be looking in that classroom. Grandma loves you.
Yes.
You know.
So it's just a wonderful family experience. Our parents are friends. Our kids are friends in and outside of school. It's being from the public school system. It is truly a wonderful learning environment. I could not think of a better place for my children to go, for my grandchildren to go to. It's
And parent involvement is not a problem in the Catholic schools, first of all. But second of all, you have requirements. Parents have to do X number of volunteer time too, don't they?
They have
to
to
help at the
service
school
hours.
to make sure they stay on top. I mean, I loved that when we did that. We get to pick different areas of, you know, where we got to help out. So do all of you
Yes.
have that, where your parents are required to do? And that helps. Now with the EISTC, I don't know, but back when we did financial aid, X number of hours would also cover for X number of dollars. Is anything similar to that anymore? That was
no,
back
I think
10
we
years.
require 30 hours from every parent.
Okay.
Me too.
And it creates community.
Yes, it
So
does.
that's-
So I did a seminar. I'll get you one second. I did a seminar in DC on Wednesday, and the guy, you know, all these leaders coming in from around. And this one guy said, "Boy, you look familiar." I'm like, "Well, I'm from Virginia Beach, but you know, I'm from Chesapeake." And anyway, we found the connection was his son goes to the same school as my grandchildren, and I'm always there every other Monday having lunch with them, and he volunteers at the school. So there was a community. It was kind of like when you ask the parents to be there, you know the kids. I knew his son, he knew my grandson. It was pretty awesome. So that was a public school, but it's the same type of thing. It's the community. When you require it, it builds community.
It does.
And Peggy, you got high school kids.
Yes, Catholic High School has been around for 70 years, so we are celebrating our 70th anniversary this year, and we'll be telling a lot of stories about all of the leaders that have graduated from Catholic High School and the way that they have made a change in the local community and in the national fabric as well. So we have a long legacy of very strong graduates, and we are continuing that today. We have so many programs and so many opportunities for students to thrive, to grow in their academics and in their faith. We have a preview day coming up in March. We're having a Hispanic breakfast next week for any Hispanic families in the area that want to learn more about the school. Our admissions office is always open to take families on tours, to talk about all the different opportunities for students that are available at Catholic High School. We have transportation to local Catholic schools, so we pick up from around the area. Kids come from Norfolk, from Virginia Beach, from Chesapeake.
Because you're one of only 2 Catholic high schools in Hampton Roads, one on the Peninsula, Peninsula Catholic, and then you're on the south side.
Yes.
So you do have some people come from quite a distance.
We do, yes, and we support that through transportation. We have international students as well. We have a diverse student body, and that is really our strength. Diversity is our strength. So we're happy to welcome all that come to our doors, and we'd love to show you what a Catholic education can offer.
And you're a pretty freaking awesome sports program too, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really strong athletics.
Yeah, I know, we love that. I was the cheerleading coach there and we won TCIS. I was the JV coach. I won't forget to say that. So, right? Cheerleading is a sport, and you do have to be fit. So get off my back, anybody who dumps that. Okay, transportation real quick, because then I have one last question, because our time is winding down. Is there transportation for people who want to get there? Is this everybody, somebody? No? So the grade schools don't necessarily have it. Is it dependent upon which grade school we go to?
Correct, but that's something that I'm looking into to see if there's a need. How can we go ahead and address that need? So,
when I went to Our Lady of Mount Carmel, my kids, Lady of Mount Carmel up in the Newport News, they had a fantastic carpooling program, so everybody signed up, and so you had the same carpool, picked up the same kids, and it was very organized, and so it was like a bus system. You kind of got to pick your peeps, and yes. All right, so we have, I think, 2 minutes, or just right around there, and I want to ask each of you, name one thing you would have our listeners do differently as a result of something they heard today. Any one of you.
Visit our school. Come in and visit. We're open 5 days a week, and on Saturday we have basketball games. Come in, see us, meet us. We're happy to tour we would be happy to give you a tour of the school. You can meet our students, and then we can talk about how affordable a Catholic education is.
Yes, and even if they've missed your open house, you can always get a tour, and someone will show you around. That's true for all your schools.
Yes,
Right.
we have rolling admissions in the spring, so there is no deadline. All are welcome to apply at any time, and families face that at different times throughout the school year. So I would reiterate the same thing that Kim said: come see us and talk to a family that attends there, and let them tell you what the school has offered to their child, and especially to their graduates.
And I was talking with a parent the other day, and he says, Portsmouth Catholic is a hidden gem. We're offset a little bit off the main road, in a small, nice little neighborhood, and we are a hidden gem. So come on out and see us. We're going to be having Tuesday tours every Tuesday. Come on out, and that's something that we will be kicking off pretty soon. And again, come on out and see us.
Wow, producer, what do I got for time?
Time to go.
Oh, I gotta wrap it up already. You guys have been awesome. Go back to my website, breakfastwithbacon.com, and you're gonna find this show. It's gonna connect you to hrcatholicschools.org. I think that's all I have. Kim, Peggy, and Scott, thank you guys for being my guest today. Remember how we're supposed to end the shows now. You're teaching good students, right? Okay, you're gonna listen. Thank you all for listening. I'm Dr. Christine Bacon. You've been listening to Breakfast with Bacon. I want to remind you always to live your life sunny side up.